Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Whew. Why am I always losing my breath in the evenings? This is Reganelite here. How you guys all doing? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint, episode 123. That's not good. I'm already losing my breath. That's not a good sign. Maybe it's because I've recorded too much content again today. It just tends to happen, to be fair. But we'll get through it. We will get through it. There's a lot to talk about in all seriousness. Yeah, regarding even if I'm losing my breath, there is some really serious stuff we need to talk about. We have obviously what's happening with Donald Trump threatening the BBC. We have your party in not doing well. AI chatbots being used to help prisons. We got a bit of an update on the post office. Zach Polanski speaking out a little bit as well, and an interesting story from the iPaper to look at as well, plus two funny videos. Links for all articles and videos will be in the description of this live stream, but this is Reganelite's Viewpoint, where we cover news specifically for the UK here. Go about to an hour and a half maximum. It's normally the length of this live stream, just for reference. It all depends how we get through them here. I just want to say good evening to Jao. Good to see you there, one of our moderators. Guys, do check out Jao's YouTube channel if you get a chance to do so as well. Pete's Music, jamming the Pete's Music. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And I was lurking in the 2 Davies chat for the afternoon show. I was doing work in the background, but I wasn't doing work. I was doing housework in the background, believe it or not. Yeah, I was trying to get some housework done, if believe it or not. So let's get started with the first story, guys. I did catch some. I haven't actually found. I was looking for the speech for Donald Trump on this, but I couldn't find it. But I found there was a video online of Ed Davey. I mean, I suppose I could share one or two clips of people's reactions to it, but I've got them bookmarked. I don't know if it was worth. If it's worth showing to you guys. I do apologize. I just had a lasagna literally half an hour ago, more than half an hour ago, and no doubt it's going to give me reflux, because you know me, guys. You know me and my reflux is just always there. Is any of this worth sharing? I can share this before we go to the article here. Ed Davey's been pretty much desperate. This was 8 hours ago. Ed Davey put out a letter saying that I've written to Keir Starmer, Kemi Baganout and Nigel Farage, urging them to condemn Donald Trump's attack on the BBC. The BBC belongs to Britain, not Trump. We must defend it together. Obviously, Nigel Farage is going to throw it in the bin. Kemi Baganout is probably going to throw it in the bin. Keir Starmer will likely also throw it in the bin. I don't know if it's going to make a big deal, but Ed Davey's been very, very much on the defensive of protecting the BBC a lot in this all. This was an interesting graph I saw here as well of the chairman, Robert Gibb here. It's an old one but you can tell. Yeah, it's a lot. Something doesn't look right there. And Alistair Campbell there saying Robert Gibb should never have been appointed in the first place and he should not stay a day longer. Well, yeah. That speaks a lot of volumes there as well, doesn't it? And then we've got a couple more people talking. Nigel Farage calling it institutionally racist and yada, yada, yada there. And then I've got bits on Lewis Goodwill, but I'm not going to share that. I don't think it's worth looking at that. But I just wanted to show you those little bits anyway there. But here is the big problem with it all now. Donald Trump has threatened the BBC with legal action over editing the speech in the documentary. So, leaked BBC report says the film had completely misled viewers by splicing two parts of the January 6th speech together. I'm going to say I don't believe it's misled viewers. However, I do believe that the BBC was wrong to edit the speech. I said this morning, and I repeated this before, and I've repeated this again. I don't know why they decided to do this. And in their minds, they were thinking, "Oh, it's no big deal." Well, the problem is it only takes a little bit to turn things around, and it's just not. Just takes one or two things to really get going, unfortunately. But let me just read a couple of this here because I think this bit is quite interesting here. So Donald Trump has threatened legal action against the BBC and welcomed the resignation of two of its most senior figures after a campaign against the broadcaster that reached a fever pitch over criticism that its flagship documentary program in 2024 used a misleading edit of a Trump speech. Lawyers for the US president said the BBC must retract the Panorama documentary by Friday or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. That's $760 million. According to US media outlets who cited the letter, the BBC has confirmed it has received the letter and said it will respond in due course. So, I really am concerned that BBC Panorama may end up being... the BBC Panorama does such a good job of exposing really important things. I think it's a very good program, and I think it really makes it can really make a difference and open up people's eyes to a lot of things. I'm worried that the Panorama may get axed or maybe dumbed down in some way, shape, or form because of this, because of the threat of the US president. Now, what should, if you were to ask me, what should the BBC do in this situation? I honestly think I know people are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I think the BBC should retract the Panorama documentary in order to avoid the lawsuit. And by the way, that's not coming from the BBC. That's taxpayer money. British taxpayer money will go straight into the pocket of the US president if they were to pay this lawsuit, if they ended up going into this lawsuit and lose, and possibly lose it, plus more. And I do not want the BBC paying out a single penny whatsoever to Donald Trump over this whatsoever. I know people won't like me saying that, and I know people think that it's wrong for the BBC to back down, but in this situation, I think it's in the BBC's best interest not to go into a war with Donald Trump over this. Take the documentary down and just quietly put it back up with the. And you could take it down and edit it, and maybe put the full speech on instead, as a way to get around it, possibly. But yeah, this is very concerning indeed, and I know some people think it's an empty threat, but it is very possible that they can do this. It's very possible. You'll get historic and BBC documentaries here, but the news have lost all credibility. All the talk was some missions during the COVID and Brexit to destroy the credibility of the BBC. Yeah, its news coverage is not getting, it's not as good, but it still does great programs. It still does some really, really good programs. Indie Duck Melly and Person Impersonator, good to see you both. Hope you guys are doing well. So the resignations of the BBC Director General Tim Davie and its new CEO Deborah Tunes came right after the right-wing Telegraph newspaper published a leaked internal report by a former BBC Standards advisor alleging failings in the broadcaster's coverage. The report criticises BBC's coverage on transgender issues, Gaza, and the edit of a Trump speech from January 6 during the Capitol Hill insurrection. Thank you to the Telegraph for exposing these corrupt journalists. These are very dishonest people who tried to step onto the scales of the presidential election. On top of everything else, they are from a foreign country, one that must consider our number one, that many consider our number one ally. What a terrible thing for democracy, Trump said on his social media platform, Truth Social. Yeah, that's pretty disgusting that the Telegraph got an endorsement from Donald Trump. Don't think they would have liked that whatsoever, the Telegraph, because not everyone who's a fan of the Telegraph is a fan of Donald Trump. So I don't think they would have liked that at all. After Davie's resignation, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also celebrated by posting on X on Saturday an interview with the Telegraph, which she captioned with the shot, and the BBC article announcing Davie's resignation captured with a chaser. On Saturday, Leavitt had described the BBC's The Telegraph as 100% fake news and a propaganda machine. BBC is not fake news, and it's not a propaganda machine. I don't accept that. I don't accept that perspective whatsoever. I can't. BBC Scotland, obviously, I can't speak for, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't accept it's fake news. Not like GB News is more fake than anything. Saying that watching BBC bulletins whilst on trips to the UK ruins her day, and that taxpayers were being forced to foot the bill for a leftist propaganda machine. This is absolute bollocks, and no more of an example of this is how the BBC has covered Gaza. That's more of a prime example of it there. Yeah, so to say that is again a nonsense thing for sure. The independent and publicly funded BBC has been under mounting pressure for years. Right-wing critics accuse it of liberal bias because left-wing critics expressed frustration that its management was unduly influenced by previous Conservative government and that it has allowed itself to be drawn into culture wars over issues like race, sex, and gender. Well, this is why one of the things I said was when the Labour government came into power, they should have. I don't know if they could have removed the director, but I think that was one of the. If they could have done, I think they should have done. Get rid of it and get immediately someone in, an independent chairman, independent of Labour, independent of both political parties. Nigel Farage, I saw, did say that it should be cross-party consent on who should be decided factor of it. Not sure if I want Reform having a say on who should be the next chairman of it, personally, because of how he feels about the BBC. But it is many problems. A tense and unprecedented atmosphere has left BBC journalists feeling exposed when reporting on contentious issues, particularly the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. At home and abroad, Trump has maintained a persistent antagonistic relationship with many major news organizations, frequently labeling outlets as the enemy of the people. The strategies include suing news organizations, revoking press credentials for reporters, and exerting pressure on media companies and the platforms. The New York-based Committee to Protect Journalism has stated that press freedom is no longer given in the United States, arguing that the Trump administration's policy could cause irreparable harm and will probably take decades to repair. The leaked BBC report said the Current Affairs Panorama documentary had completely misled viewers by splicing two pairs of Trump's speech together. The Panorama edit cut together quotes from sections of the speech delivered up to an hour apart, combining a line about walking out of the Capitol with the insurrection to fight like hell. The BBC chair, Samir Shah, later on Monday apologized for the editing of the Trump speech, calling it an error of judgment. Yeah, and again, I have to say this, like, you've got to be careful around Donald Trump. Like, he will throw his toys out the pram over the tiniest of things, and the right wing will too. Trump, in fact, gave conflicting advice that day to supporters who he had called on to gather in the Capitol as part of his efforts to discredit the election. Lost based on false claims of widespread fraud. The US president was later impeached for incitement of insurrection relating to storming the Capitol by riots. He was acquitted by the Senate after Republicans rallied around him. Yeah, of course. Yeah, in terms of this legal action, I think the BBC should back down. I know it sounds, I know it's terrible to say that, but I think in this situation, I think it's in their best interest to do so. We've said for a long time, we've been saying for a while that the BBC needs to change anyway fundamentally. I've even spoke on this channel in the past about how the BBC needs to change fundamentally. Especially, in particularly more like not so much the entertainment, but the news, the way they cover the news, and the kind of people that are running it. Like Laura Queensberg is definitely one of the worst politicians there. Like she is so biased towards right wing, it's insane. Like she should not be having her own show. Like if anyone deserves a show, as a show on Sunday, it's Victoria Derbyshire. She's 1,000 times better. She's not biased. She gives straight answers and whatnot. She's one of the few BBC journalists that actually do their job properly, in my opinion. But this is something that's going to be rocking on all week. They're going to drag the BBC, the right wing, the influencers, Donald Trump. They're all going to drag the BBC through the mud as much as they can because they want to see it destroyed. They want to see something that we value and care about. And here's the thing. A lot of the British public who don't like Donald Trump anyway will be saying, well, who gives a shit? A lot of the British public will literally say, who gives a shit? I still like my BBC. I still like my programs. I still like the news and what. A lot of the public will not give a shit that it's upset Donald Trump because they see him as a baby just as much as we do. So I don't think it's going to be like, that's it, people have lost complete and total trust in the BBC. I don't buy that angle for 1 second. And I think to try and imply that Reform Russia voters who support Reform Russia, do I honestly think that there are gonna be some of those there who don't really so much. Some of them are GB News fans and Nigel Farage fanboys, but some of them also like the BBC. So I don't think they're all gonna turn their. I don't think it's like a case of the BBC has lost the British public, because it hasn't. It will not lose the British public on this. Not on Donald Trump. That is for sure. But it will be interesting in a month's time if they do a poll out and see what some of the polling will say about people's views on the BBC. That will be quite fascinating there. The next story I've got for you guys is one in exclusive for Sky News. The headline is the ex-Labour MP Zarah Sultana is at the centre of a new party row over 8,000k in donations. Miss Sultana is the sole control of the Your Party donations, the party she set up with Jeremy Corbyn in July. She has agreed to transfer 600,000k in tranches, but party sources say they want the full amount. And straight away, my first question is why only 600? Why not 800? What's the problem? Straight from the start, she has been the biggest problem for this political party. She has been everything that has gone wrong since trying to build this party up in its establishment. She has always been the problem. It just feels like one thing after another with her. And I don't know if a part of me feels like, is there a possibility that she could be a spy on the inside or something? I don't know. It just feels like everything that she is doing right now around this party is just like going to poop. And her to literally talk about in one of her interviews, talking about them governing in the future, and it's just just don't even talk about that when you haven't even established your party, haven't even established your name, haven't even had your press conference yet. And we weren't supposed to know about this. This is my really important mark here, guys. We were not supposed to know about this party. Yeah, the public was not supposed to know about it. The media was not supposed to know about it. This was not supposed to be known until this press conference later on this month, when they would announce it. We were not supposed to be told in any way, shape or form about this. But because Zarah Sultana opened her big fat mouth, this is why the situation we're in. It's also her fault that a lot of money has got... she opened up a membership portal as well, without the consent of the others. The more I hear about this, the more the finger gets pointed at it. Do I think Jeremy Corbyn and some of the independent MPs need to take some blame of this? Yeah, I do. But I think the big blame, the overall, the most crisis on this falls on her lap. I really, really do. And I generally think that Jeremy Corbyn and his side really cannot stand Zarah Sultana at this point. And I think they're just putting up with this to see how far this will go. And they've lost so many members to the Greens and other parties as a result of all this calamity as well, because it's shown to people that they're not good enough to govern. They're not willing. They can't handle this. Jail says Trump is a grifter and the people need to stop pandering to his shillers. Just cancel the show in the US and broadcast it all over the world. So donations are still being held by Zarah Sultana, will be transferred over to your party in tranches this week. Sky News has been told, but the party standoff still remains. Ms. Sultana is the sole control of over £800,000 of your party's donations following an internal fallout. A spokesperson told Sky News that £600,000 will be transferred over in 3 tranches, starting with £200,000 from this Wednesday, and the rest once the company's costs, expenses, and liabilities are settled in full. But your party source told Sky News that she should transfer in full the £8,000 worth of donations are out. And this is the thing, straight away, my first response is, why in paces? Why can't you transfer it in one go? What's the problem? What is the problem with transferring 600,000 from one bank account to another? What's the issue here? Why do you need to do it in bits? Again, I don't get this. Here's this. They're saying this is what they're going to be doing, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? What's the reason? Why can't you send it in one go? It follows a major row over finances behind the scenes of the new left-wing party, which Mr. Sultana co-launched with Jeremy Corbyn back in July, which wasn't supposed to be the plan. At the time, a company called MOU Operations was used to collect donations with the idea that this would be transferred over to your party once it was formally registered with the Electoral Commission. The registration happened on the 30th September, but no transfer of funds have been made, despite Mr. Sultana stepping in to take ownership of MOU last month after its previous 3 directors quit. Yeah, because of the way this is all being handled. And they didn't want to find themselves in any kind of liability. That's why they quit. MOU is holding around 800,000k of donations in total, as well as around 500k in fees collected as part of Mr. Sultana's unauthorised membership launch, Sky News understands. Mr. Sultana's spokesperson says 600,000k will be transferred over in 3 tranches, and the rest once the company costs, expenses and liabilities are in full. The Your Party source told Sky News that Ms Sultana had been told that Your Party can't accept the money relating to her membership launch due to legal risk and accused her of trying to offload it. Ah, dear, oh dear. So can Your Party keep it together? That's a good question.
Your party was meant to be the next biggest thing in British politics.
Really excited, yeah. Been waiting years for it, to be honest with you, so it's long overdue.
It's a real chance for a lot of us to actually get our views out and be heard by the news, for example.
But descended into chaos after these two heroes of the left couldn't agree on membership.
There were some errors made about, announcements and so on.
Like Liam and Noel, who managed to patch things up and have a very successful tour, we are doing the same.
Structure and organisation of the party.
It's not messy at all. It's a totally coherent approach.
Part and parcel of being on the left.
It's not great PR.
I feel like as ardent members of the left, I feel like we've seen a lot worse.
The presentation and what's gone on in the last couple of weeks with the membership's been a bit shambolic.
They say they want to be the antidote to Labour.
Zarah Sultana!
Policies on peace, the policies on justice, the policies on equality, and dealing with the housing crisis. It's also going to be fun.
And that there is a growing appetite for a new kind of grassroots movement with 800,000 new subscribers. But with splits and infighting, can the left ever get it together?
I really don't know if this party is going to succeed. Because here's the thing, like, both of them they have similar policies. They have similar policies. But how both them and the independent MPs are part of this want to run this is very differently as well. I think you're right regarding Zarah. She seems quite unstable. I don't blame the others. Yeah, this is the thing. Initially, I was just blaming everyone. But the more things happened, the more I read up and learned and what was being said and whatnot, the more the finger kept getting pointed at her. And it seems like everything is pointed at her. And literally right now, we have a situation where she's holding all the money. Zarah Sultana would like to be a politician, but she falls way below the mark. Totally useless. The thing is, she is very outspoken about her views, which I do think, which is a good thing. But I just don't. For me, the question that generally is on my mind is the main story that I've heard from what I've heard is that the party was never supposed to be. People were not supposed to know about it until this conference, right? We were not supposed to know about all this and all of a sudden Zarah Sultana just tweeted it out. And my first reaction to this is, why would you do that when nobody else wanted it being told about? And I feel like they entrusted her with the knowledge about they're going to be forming this party and they want her to be a part of it. And her response is, rather than keep quiet and work behind the scenes to make sure everything's set up, she just goes and puts it out on the public. And you already knew that things weren't great because Jeremy Corbyn was like, what are you doing? This wasn't the plan. The plan wasn't supposed to tell everyone. Like, this wasn't the plan. So right off the bat, she was given trust in this party. And for me, she's already broken that trust right there. She agreed to take over MOU to break standoff between your party and the company's previous directors. Yep. The trio set up MOU in April to assist with new left-wing party centred around Mr. Corbyn, but resigned on October 27, claiming the role of holding donations had been thrust upon them and raising concerns about a lack of appreciation governance within your party. The statement said they hadn't transferred over the funds because they were worried about legal liabilities and wanted your party to take over the company instead. But 5 of the 6 founding MPs refused. Ms. Sultana said her stepping in would bring the chapter to a close and these resources will now be used for your party and were always intended. However, anger in some within your party says that this is a mess of her own making because of the membership fiasco, which is still being investigated by the Information Commissioner's Office. While Mr. Corbyn and Ms. Sultana have since patched things up, they have not. One, your party source described the operation as a low-trust environment. Senior your party figures have accused Ms. Sultana of deliberately withholding MOU funds for political leverage despite privately and publicly committing to the transfer. Organisers expressed frustration at operating out of a shoestring ahead of a founding conference at the end of this month. This sounds like, to me, this definitely sounds like leverage here. her basically trying to force everyone to basically saying, I'm holding the money, I want it done my way, sort of thing, the party, because the way she wants the party structured is not the way that Jeremy Corbyn and the others want it structured, and this is her way of trying to hold some kind of leverage here. Because the thing is, I feel like that there's a part of me that thinks that maybe if she transfers the money, she'll get kicked out of it. However, allies close to the Coventry South MP has dismissed the hostile briefings and insisted she has been conducting due diligence before sending the money over. Sky News understand Ms Sultana has been seeking your party's constitution and financial schemes as registered with the Electoral Commission to help understand the party's growing structures. Source close to her claims there has been an unwillingness to share the documents from within your party, so she has requested them from the election watchdog directly. Yeah, they don't want... The thing is, I feel like what's going to happen... A part of me feels like that if she gives the money over, they're just going to kick her to the curb at this point. And I would too if I was them, because I would say that she's just been too problematic. It's not clear who wrote the documents and who is controlling access to them, or why one of the party's founders should not be able to see them. Spokesperson for Mr Sultana says Zara did not choose to become the sole director of MOU Limited, but was prepared to take on the responsibility or funds are transferred as quickly as possible, and preparations for the founding conference can progress. Yeah, so legally responsible for ensuring the company's costs, liabilities, expenses to be settled, and this process may take up to time to ensure funds are available for the founding conference. She will transfer 600 in tranches over the next couple of weeks, the first 200 scheduled to be sent on the 12th of November. All remaining funds will be transferred once the company costs and expenses and liabilities are settled in full. Spokesperson said, we are completely focused on putting together a successful founding conference for our members. So it can be democratically structured. Program Britain can get socialist. When is the conference anyway? Let me just check something. Your party conference. When is your party conference? When is the date? They got the homepage. Your party conference date, please. Bump. Your party. There it is. I'm just confirming the date. Sorry guys, 1 second. Zarah Sultana would like to be a politician. Yep, I said that already. 29th and 30th. Let me write that down. Party conference. Right. So it looks like 29th and 30th is going to be this at the end of this month. So that's literally the same week as the budget. Just for reference there. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be very fascinating to see what happens between now and then. We're generally curious to see how it's going to go, guys. Yeah, it's not very good for them. Yeah, more and more people should just come. They should just come to the Greens, because then they should just come to the Greens for a bit more common sense, personally. Speaking of common sense, our prison system is still in chaos here, guys. This one is from The Guardian. The AI chatbots could help stop prisoner error releases, says Justice Minister. HMP's Walworth gets the green light to use AI after teams sent in to find quick fixes after a spate of mistakes. This is going to take time to set up. It's going to take time to set up a system, especially one using artificial intelligence, to make sure these errors don't happen. What I do hope is that it does not mean that people get fired as a result of this. My hope is that initially, at least for the next couple of years, as they put this in, this helps get a grip of the system, and that it makes it easier for them to identify prisoners who may or may not be, who are supposed to be released or not supposed to be released, and they can get this a bit more under control. This is not going to be a 5-minute. This is not a 5-minute solution. But unfortunately, it's going to take a little bit of time before they get this set up, which is the reality. So artificial intelligence chatbots could be used to stop prisoners from being mistakenly released in jail. A Justice Minister told the House of Lords on Monday. James Timpson said HMP's Walworth has been given the green light to use AI after a specialist team was sent in to find some quick fixes. A double manhunt was launched last week after the incorrect release of a sex offender and a fraudster from the prison in southwest London. Release errors over the past fortnight have been seized upon by opposition MPs as evidence of the helplessness of ministers in the face of chaos within the criminal justice system. David Lammy, the Justice Secretary, is suspected to address Parliament about the number of missing prisoners when MPs return on Tuesday. He's understood that AI could be used to read and process paper documents, help staff cross-reference names to ensure that inmates are no longer hiding their past crimes behind aliases, merge different data sets and calculate release data and sentence. Yep, I've got no problem with AI doing this, helping this out. At present, many of those jobs are being completed by inexperienced staff using calculators and reams of paper. Yeah, this is a big problem. This needs to change. And because of austerity, because of the cuts under the Conservatives, they've been stuck in these same old systems and they've not been able to update since. Responding to the questions in the upper chamber on Monday, Lord Timpson said the number of releases per prison varies dramatically. In HMP Garntree, they average 2 releases a year, whereas in Walsworth it is 2,000. Excuse me, but that is why the digital team last week went into HMP's Walsworth to look at what the opportunities for some quick fixes to embrace digital technology. We had the AI team went in, and to give you a couple of examples, they think a AI chatbot could be really helpful. They also cross-referencing for aliases because we know some offences have more than 20 aliases. He added, but we've given the team the green light to get on with that. Bradham Killadore, Chief 24, was mistakenly freed on October 29th before being arrested on Friday after a police search. He was serving a sentence for trespass with intent to steal, but having previously been convicted of in indicia exposure. He is understood to have overstayed his visa to the UK after arriving in 2019 and was still in the process of being deported. Now, prisoner Billy Smith, 35, who was accidentally freed from Walsworth on Monday after being sentenced to 45 months for fraud offences, handed himself back in on Thursday. The accidental release of 2 men intensified pressure on Lammy, who days earlier had announced a new checklist for prison staff after a mistaken release of the sex offender Heidi Kibu on the 24th of October. He came to the UK on a small boat, sparking disturbances in Epping, Essex, after sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman. He was wrongfully released from Chelmsford prison and attempted to walk back into prison at least 4 times. He was eventually apprehended in Finsbury Park, North London, and given money, he was deported to Ethiopia. In the 12 months to March this year, 262 prisoners have been released in error, a 128% increase from the 115 the previous year, according to government data. The vast majority, 233, occurred in prisons, while the remaining 29 happened in courts. According to unions and governors, there's been a recent increase in errors because of complicated early release schemes and a paper-based system, which means that many documents are lost between prisoners, courts, and the Ministry of Justice. Chief Inspector of Prisons said the recent spate of prisoners being released too early is a symptom of a system that is close to breaking point. Writing in the Telegraph on Sunday, Charlie Sayre said the growing number of mistaken release was embarrassing and potentially dangerous. Again, we have to remember the context as well. The numbers weren't as bad as they were under the Conservatives. And the media didn't talk too much about it as well. Over the weekend, it was reported that 4 offenders remain in large after being released in error, and that 2 releases in June this year and 2 in 2024. On Monday, sources within the government suggested that one of those had been returned to custody. But in the sign of the crisis behind the scenes with the custodial estate, is understood to have never been released in error and was miscounted among those who had been. The Prime Minister's official spokesperson said the case reflects the nature and the scale of the prison crisis inherited by this government. We have been clear that there's no overnight fix, which is why we're building 14,000 more prison places and sending in tech experts to modernise the system and improve and provide immediate support to staff. Yeah, this is the thing. It's going to take time, and the problem is people are impatient. And this cannot be all on Labour. I really cannot stress this enough. I've said this before, and I said this on the premiere video. Like, you cannot pin this all on Labour. Yes, Labour do have to take ownership that they are in government now, but the mess that they've been left is because of the Conservatives. And that context really, really does matter here. I just don't understand this. The UK is probably the only country in Europe that does not have a centralised and digitalised system of organising the records of prisoners and the Justice Department. Ours has been computerised and digitalised for more than 2 decades now, because they've never been given the funding to do so. And the question, they've never been given the funding. The funding, and the question is, like, why has the prison minister not made this argument? Why has the prison minister? Like, every single prison minister since the day of computers never bothered to actually make a case that maybe we should, turn this all into computers. Some of them even using fax machines. Like, what the hell? Like, honestly, what are we doing here? Like, why have we not updated into the new world? That really does drive me crazy that we're still using paper. And it's a waste of paper too. It's more expensive to have a paper system than a digitalized one. Yeah, as you just said, yeah. Yeah, this is it's just the logic has just gone out the door. It's just that it's gone out the door. Like, you have, it's not even just the conservatives, because you have to remember, like, computers were starting to be a thing like in the 2000s. Like, why didn't the Blair government like say anything, like do something about modernizing computers at that time as well? Like, yeah, in terms of the system, yeah, the system should have been looked at before, but it wasn't, I'm afraid. So guys, we're going to take a short video before we carry on here. We've got 3 more stories to look at here. But we have a very big problem, guys. Apparently, Bigfoot is on the loose. I repeat, Bigfoot is on the loose. Our good friend Garen is on the case here about the Irish Bigfoot, which is on the loose, guys. So let's take it to him and look at and find out more about this story here, guys. Garen, take it away for us, please.
There's a lion on the loose in Ireland. Look at him there with his big fucking bushy tail on him. This has been dominating the news. The Irish people are terrified. We just got rid of the fucking English, and now we have a lion-like animal prowling in Clare. They can't locate the lion now, so they don't know what he's doing. I checked the barbers, because he looks like he's just after getting a nice haircut. Now, the footage isn't very good because nobody in Ireland has a nice phone. I just want to make this very fucking clear. Wildlife is not welcome in Ireland. It starts with lions, and before you know it, it's like the Amazon rainforest, where you can't even lick a fucking frog or you'll be dead. Wait, actually, we've got an update. They've found the lion. The authorities have apprehended the lion, and it was just a dog with a lovely haircut. Hopefully we can all learn from this. Do not let your dog out with a fresh trim, as he may send the island into a panic. Hopefully this has reduced panic. Follow me, I'm delicious.
Oh dear. Oh God. Karen, you had us all scared there. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I guess it wasn't as bad as we thought it was, guys. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Yeah, it started around 1998 or something, says Jow. What? The computerized system? We definitely computerized things, but there's a lot of things we didn't bother doing, which is embarrassing. Guys, just before I carry on the next 3 stories, if you guys want, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content, which is dropping over this week, which I have recorded today. And also, if you want to find support me in the work that I do here, you can leave a super chat down below to help me towards tonight's super chat goal, or you can join the YouTube membership for as little as 99p as well. Thank you guys for listening to all that. Let's have a look at the next story then. It's a bit of a short one, but I do want to touch on it because I think it's a cause for a bit of a concern here. So the Post Office Horizon IT contract extended for another year. So for those who don't know, this is the same Horizon that was a part of the Post Office scandal, which obviously led to a lot of messing up here. And it seems like to me that this has been extended as opposed to looking for actually a new system, and they didn't want to pay for the cost of getting rid of the current system and putting in a new system, and they're just literally kicking the can down the road, and I don't like that at all. So the Post Office has agreed to extend its deal to use the controversial Horizon IT system for another year. It is paying a further £41 million to the Japanese-owned company Fujitsu to use Horizon until March 2027. The account system has been at the centre of the Post Office scandal, in which more than 900 sub-postmasters were wrongly prosecuted after faulty Horizon software made it look like money was missing from their branch accounts. A Post Office spokesperson said it was committed to moving away from Fujitsu and off the Horizon system as soon as possible. Well, we're bringing in a different supplier to take over Horizon whilst a new system is developed, and this process is well underway, they added. We expected to award a contract for a new supplier to manage Horizon by July 2026, according to the current timeline. So they're saying right now that they're going to have a new contract, a new supplier, but they just can't do it just yet. Is what they're saying. So either they didn't look for one, or no one came for it. or they've got their minds on other stuff. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Sources have told the BBC the contract could be extended until 2028, while the new supplier has to takes over the running of Horizon, which is used by subpodmasters at branches across the UK. But the replacement of Horizon is still a long way off. The Post Office has been working on a project called NBIT to build a new in-house alternative, but there were growing concerns about the soaring costs and complexities. It's always costs, guys. NBIT was ditched shortly after the new Post Office chair Nigel Rogerson launched his turnaround plan for the business in November 2024. Yeah, I had a feeling the new chair would shake things up for the wrong reasons. The Post Office has shifted to buying software from external suppliers, and procurement procedures for this have begun. Government spokesperson said we are working as quickly as possible to ensure Horizon has the technology it needs, including replacing Horizon as a vital part of the company's wider transformation. The fact they still use Horizon systems indicate past underinvestment, which can't be rectified overnight, so we need to ensure postmasters have the tools they need to continue serving the customers in the interim. Fujitsu executives have apologised for the company's role in that scandal, admitting that Horizon had bug errors and defects from the start. Boss of its European arms, Paul Patterson, has acknowledged that Fujitsu has a moral obligation to contribute financially, but no timeline figure has so far has been set. Have they sent any money whatsoever? Answers on a postcard. I'm gonna assume they have not, because it seems like they're just waiting on the situation here. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Remember, these guys, their company has screwed over a lot of people's lives. And right now, there's been no accountability. Like, no one's gone to prison. No one's gone to prison, and they haven't paid. Then it sounds like they haven't paid anything towards it yet either. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Okay, I understand the point of transitioning from one system to another. It takes time. I accept that from the government. Like, I accept that position. But, like, what are we doing here? Frustrating indeed. What's not frustrating is this man here from the Independent, guys. Zach Polanski says, the Green Leader says Starmer is not a man I'll be willing to work with here. I'm just going to play this clip, guys. I know it's about 4 minutes long, but I think it's worth listening to what he says here.
The Green Party is the party of environmental, social, racial and economic justice, and I'm really looking forward to seeing us grow.
What would you say to people who are concerned about the Green Party being just a one-issue party? And also, what exactly does eco-populism mean?
So it's recognising if people in this country right now are tired and exhausted, food prices are going up and their wages aren't going up, if they've even got a job. So if you're worried about getting food on the table, heat in your homes, how you might get to work, the idea of the climate crisis can seem like a very distant threat. Now, the climate crisis isn't a distant threat. It's right here and it's right now. But actually, if we don't address people's material concerns, and all I mean by that is bill paying, getting to work, the kind of everyday stuff, the bread and butter issues, then everything else can just seem like you're talking down to them.
This is the one thing he is doing that so many other politicians in so many other political parties are refusing to talk about enough. He's talking about their issues. He knows that, and this is the thing, all the other politicians, like so many of them sitting in Parliament, are not talking about this enough, and are looking at other problems, other issues. Here you've got Zach saying, like, consistently banging on about the cost of living, banging on about inequality, banging on about people's issues here, and it resonates with the public. It's resonating with them because he's talking to them like he's not talking to them like other politicians would talk to you, like a goddamn zombie here.
I want to make sure we're connecting with people where they're really at and saying to anyone, if you're looking at this Labour government, or you even voted for this Labour government because you wanted the change that Keir Starmer promised, and what have you got? The 2-job benefit cap, cut to disability benefits, and a refusal to tax multimillionaires and billionaires.
Let's be clear. First of all, they said they're going. That the story is obviously they're going to cut the 2-job benefit cap in the budget. We don't know that, but that's the story that we've been hearing. As for the disability benefits, they haven't done that, but they are talking about that again. So I do want to put those caveats in there. But yeah, they have talked about that again.
Then you don't need to go to reform and the toxic politics of hate and division if you want an alternative. The Green Party are there offering the politics of hope, community, and those aren't just abstract ideas. They're tangible solutions in people's communities to turn this country around. And crucially, I want to make sure that no one's left behind.
Looking to the next election, what would be a good outcome for you? What are you hoping to achieve?
We got 39 second place finishes and nearly 2 million votes. So building on that is clearly the first place to start. Turning those 39 seats, second place finishes, into first place finishes. But I'm not just limited to that, because actually in North Herefordshire and Waveney Valley, we came from 4th and 5th place to first place. So you don't have to be in second to come first. But clearly, a strong second place is a great place to start off from. I think we need to reclaim patriotism. Keir Starmer, yesterday.
I just want to touch on, because he's spoken about the seats before, and I think it's quite important that despite the membership numbers and despite the polls, it's really important for Zach Polansky to keep his feet on the ground and not to talk about government and talking about becoming prime minister. You know, obviously things can change between now and the local election, between the local election and the next general election. A lot can happen. There's still so much time between now and another big general election, and right now keeping the feet on the ground is the best thing he can do, and I think he's handling it pretty much the way a politician should be doing it in this situation. Not jumping too much going over the top here, but keeping his feet on the ground, sticking to the same principles, same policies over and over again. And I also like that he's not afraid to go into a few lines dens. I do not want to see him on Talk TV personally again. I know he went on there with Piers Morgan. I do not want to see him on GB News. I don't want him giving them any recognition whatsoever. I have him no problem talking, I don't want him talking to the Sun either. I think that would be a real derogation against a lot of principled people out there as well. There are some center podcasts and whatnot he has talked to as well, which I think is totally all right. But there are certain lines I just don't want him to cross to talk over to. And I know he wants to reach out to all people, but I'd rather he reach out to them by being on the streets rather than actually through some of these platforms where the presenters will manipulate and try and twist his words for the benefit of their viewers.
Today called me a plastic progressive. If I'm honest, I don't even really know what that means. But more importantly, his patriotism could not be more plastic. He thinks patriotism is waving a flag or claiming that he hangs flags up all the time. That's not real patriotism. Patriotism is about caring about your community, saying that ultra-wealthy people should not be allowed to pollute this country and not face consequences. Patriotism is recognizing that if you support the poorest communities, whether they're disabled people, working class communities, people running a small business or just trying to get by, if you support those people, that supports everyone. Inequality is the most unpatriotic thing possible to allow to happen.
Would you accept any defections from Labour MPs? Would you welcome them to your party if they're sort of concerned about the current direction of Labour?
Those are probably in double figures, the amount of conversations I've had with Labour MPs. In terms of talking to Labour MPs about defections, that's a smaller number, but yes, absolutely, I'm having conversations with Labour MPs who are considering defecting.
He keeps getting asked this question, but I think he's handling those answers really well. You know, he's not jumping the gun. He's not giving names away, but he's not giving names away specifically. But he's certainly rattling the Labour government by constantly mentioning of defections. And we've seen people jump ship. We've seen a lot of Labour councillors jump from red to green. We've also seen some Labour jump from red to Reform as well, which has also been quite a bit balmy as well.
I'm saying the same thing publicly and privately, though, that if they align with our values, then it makes absolutely no sense to be in the Labour Party anymore. And I go a little bit stronger than that too. So let me name some people I really admire, like Clive Lewis, for instance, I would say is a very obvious example, Nadia Whittome. When I talk to Clive more publicly, I won't talk about private conversations, when I talk to him publicly, he's very honest about his criticism of the Labour government. He's not shy about it. So I really admire Clive Lewis, and none of this is an attack on him because I really admire the fact he's within Labour speaking out. And he would say, as an example, that he worked alongside Green MPs and progressive politicians to prevent the damage being done from the welfare bill. And that is all true. I would also question, though, you could have done that without being in the Labour Party. And actually, by being a Labour MP, I think they're creating a collective shield for Keir Starmer to go, look, I'm not that bad. I can reel off a list of people that you agree with, and they're kind of my collective defence shield. I would extend this argument out to the deputy leader race. I really like Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana. I agree with a lot of their politics. I would say a lot of their politics is aligned with the Green Party, and I've heard both of them accept that too, so I don't think there's any differences there. I also heard Jeremy say last week, and I think it's totally true, that we are different people. We come from different movements and different backgrounds, and so, you know, there's likely to be differences there. I also think people are sick of politicians trying to find things they disagree with, create wedges, when really they should be working together. I would say both with Jeremy and Zarah, we have so much more in common than that divides us.
Do you feel like Labour has...
I really love how he really talks about unity there. And I think it's very clever the way he come across there. And Clive Lewis is definitely someone who wants to try and do good within the Labour Party. But his name constantly getting mentioned by Zach Polanski, I don't think is helping him at all. I think it's just really, really frustrating. I don't think it's helping Clive Lewis at all whatsoever in his party. And I get that he's definitely rattling the Labour government, and it's definitely rattling reform. And I don't know if we're ever going to get defections. I think the real test will come at the local elections. The real test will come. We'll see what they can do at the local elections there. Hi, all been listening at work, says Alistair here. Thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Thank you, Alistair. No worries, my friend. I hope your work day is going well, my friend. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
has abandoned trans people?
I would say has added to the toxic culture that many trans people face. In the last 5 years, the LGBT community hate crime has risen by 112%.
That's really bad. 112%. That's really, really bad. 112%. That's an insane number there. I'm not going to read the article because it's literally copy and paste what he basically just said there in the video. So there is no need for me to read what we've just listened to there. It's pretty much the same stuff, guys. But on Zach Polanski so far, I think so far again he's keeping his feet on the ground. He is I know that the comparison to Zoran Mandani is it's not that yet, but again I like what he's doing at the moment. He's saying the right things. He's doing the right things. He's trying to appeal to as many different people as possible. It's not just about appealing to people on the left. We're trying to tap into the frustrations of those and try to get them to understand his side, understand his party side. And I think he, like I always said, before he became the Green leader, I said he could become the left's Nigel Farage. I said that. And he is starting to become that. It's still early days, but he can start to become that. If he can get, and I've seen some of his, some TikTok and videos have been okay. They need to copy a little bit when it comes to election time, when it comes to him running as an MP and whatnot. That's when they really need to ramp up the social media, and they need to take some of the ideas from Zoran Mandani, and I think that would really help him, and I think it would really help his party as well there, for sure. The last story I've got for you guys, I said normally about an hour and a half, but looks like this one's going to be a shorter night here, guys. But don't worry, I've got a really good funny video to see ourselves out at the end. So this one here is from the iPaper here. The headline is: the Home Office could limit refugee stays in Britain under immigration crackdown. So a Denmark-style overhaul of the immigration system could also restrict the abilities of refugees to bring families to the country. This is I feel like we're getting mixed messages with regards to the immigration system. And I feel like that stories like this right now are just kind of like they're just trying to appeal to the people who have concerns or worries and whatnot. That's generally how it comes across to me. And they cannot get a grip on this. And we know, and we've already seen reports that the Home Office is not functioning properly anyway. So it's already not doing its job properly here. So. And as far as a Denmark-style immigration system, let's just start by saying, I don't know what the Denmark immigration system is, but let me just say this: Denmark's not exactly it's not the same as the UK. It's not multiculturalism. It's quite an expensive country, my understanding. It's not a cheap place to live, from my understanding. I don't know if any Danish viewers are here in the chat can speak volumes. I don't know if it's on the same level as expensive as Switzerland, but it's certainly not easy. So we're nowhere near. It's certainly not something that I think many people, when they come across to Europe, their first port of call is Denmark. And also, because of the size of its country and its population, it's not going to take in as many refugees as the UK. So the comparison is kind of dumb. So I'm not sure how copying a Denmark-style system kind of works here. So and finally, the last point, of course, how could I possibly forget, is they're a member of the European Union. Now they don't have all the same things as them, but haven't got the exact same systems as most of the EU. Apparently, they have some exemptions, from what I understand as well. But it just seems silly to try and copy a Denmark style overhaul. Yeah, I'm not really buying that, guys. So the Home Secretary is considering a Danish-style overhaul of the immigration system, which could limit how long some refugees are able to stay in the UK. Shabima Mohammed is looking to Denmark's hardline immigration system for ideas on how the UK can cut small boat crossings in the Channel. Denmark has slashed asylum applications to a 40-year low for a mixture of tough policies such as restricting the ability of refugees to bring family members to the country, making it harder to gain permanent settlement rights. In addition, refugees granted asylum when fleeing from wars are now only permitted to stay in Denmark on a temporary basis. If the conditions improve in their country of origin, they can be made to return home. So if their country actually improves, they get forced to go home. So that would basically mean, like Syria as a prime example. The country has improved significantly since the removal of its leader. So that tells me that a lot of Danish, Syrian refugees in Denmark would have been sent back to the country, whether they like it or not there. I'm not sure I like that. But they don't want a lot of immigrants. And this is the kind of, and again, this is Labour trying to be like Reform, saying, look, we can do this too. Home Office source told the iPaper that a range of options was being explored and that no decision yet has been made on policy. Mum has already drawn some inspiration from the Danish example. Earlier in the autumn, the Home Office announced that migrants granted asylum would no longer get automatically a long-term settlement and family reunion rights as part of its efforts to reduce pull factors from small boat crossings. Mum is looking to the country for further ideas, with a delegation of senior Home Office officials dispatched last month to Copenhagen to learn lessons about their interventions. She's also planning to meet her Danish counterpart, Minister for Integration, Rasmus Stoklund, as soon as possible. The Home Secretary is expecting to announce an overhaul of the asylum system later this month, aimed at removing incentives and drawing people to Britain and ramping up the number of illegal migrants being removed. As well as cutting asylum applications to a 40-year low in 2024, Denmark has increased returns by removing 95% of rejected asylum seekers. The UK government is particularly interested in Danish example because the immigration crackdown in the country has been penalised by the Social Democrats, Labour's progressive sister party. Mimicking Denmark is a move which will divide opinions in the Labour Party. Clive Lewis, the left-wing MP for Norwich South, well, didn't we just talk about him? Told the BBC, Denmark's Social Democrats have gone down what I would call a hardcore approach to immigration. I've adopted many of the talking points that we might call the far right. Labour does need to win back some reform learning votes, but you can't do that at the cost of losing progressive votes. However, Mohammed move has been welcomed by Labour MPs in the Red Wall seats in the Midlands and Northern England, who fear losing to Nigel Farage's Reform Russia. A Labour MP representing a Red Wall constituency told the iPaper that they backed following Denmark. You know, the woke left have lost the plot when they are calling for the Danish Social Democrats a bunch of fascists, they said. I don't know what Danish politics are like, so I can't comment at all. I've never covered Danish politics on this channel. Luke Ennerhard, the MP for North Durham, said not everything that has been done in Denmark would work in the UK. And we are far larger, more diverse country, and I welcome the Home Secretary looking for success in our Danish Social Democratic counterparts have had in tackling illegal immigration and seeing which policies could be applied here in the UK. Now, it's not like, I don't think they're going to try and do I don't think they're going to try and do a carbon copy of Denmark, but they are going to try and show that they are being tougher. And I just have to keep mentioning this point again and again and again. Like, it's not the same. It's just not the same here. And you're not like these people who have deserted Labour for Reform Russia. They're not going to come back to you based on immigration because they're tired of the same two-tier politics. A lot of them are just going to say, look, I don't care if they make a difference. I don't trust Labour. I don't trust the Tories. I want something different. even if it's somebody that may be a liar and a charlatan. Like many voters will feel like that. And I know it sounds crazy to say such a thing, but yeah, there are some dumb people who are literally saying, you know what, I just don't care about these two parties anymore. They both let me down so many times. Why should I vote for either one of them? And they don't know about the Green Party, or they haven't heard enough about the Green Party, because again, they're not getting enough attention in the media as Reform Russia are. And that's the problem. Danish system is not hardcore, right? In any way you look at it. It's just harsher and needed, says Jal. Hi, Reg. Good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. This only applies, let me see. He says, the UK cannot replicate the Danish system. Portugal is using some of their ideas. I support the UK could copy some ideas too. The family reunion was one of the policies that we are applying here. That's in Portugal for reference. Limiting severity, says Jal. This only applies to economic migrants. By the way, political asylum seekers are taken in for the necessary time until they can be returned home. Yeah, thanks for that info, Jal. Appreciate it. We aren't too dissimilar to Denmark, and it's the wrong people getting returned. I just feel like really safe and legal routes would solve a lot of things, but we know that that's not where they want to go. That they're trying to win back voters that they're not going to win. That's my general belief. They're trying to win back voters that they're just not going to win. But they can keep trying, but I'm just not buying into it, you know. And I don't think, you guys should too either. So guys, we've already gone through all the video. Gone through all the articles, but we've got one more video to see ourselves out. A much shorter live stream than usual. Hopefully next week's one will be a little bit more, we'll have a bit more appetite for you guys. But I hope you found today's live stream informative and helpful. But before we go, I want to share this very funny 5-minute video from Michael Spicer, which dropped today. This is hilarious. I hope you guys get a laugh out of this. I certainly did when I listened to it here. It's called Mike Chalk Interviews David Lammy. I think this is him pretending to be Mike Graham, possibly. But I'll let you guys decide that.
Yeah.
Morning, Mike.
Who is it this morning?
David Lammy.
Oh, bollocks.
What was that?
I said bollocks.
A car will take you from his office to the studio.
What, I have to go to him?
Yes, he says he's very busy and can't come to you.
We're all busy. I present the most popular radio show in the UK, Tough Talk with Mike Chalk. What does he do all day? Apart from accidentally letting people out of prison and falling down the stairs.
Falling down the stairs?
You know, I know somebody who works at the Ministry of Justice. Apparently he takes a tumble about once a week.
Well, don't bring that up.
So if we're going over there, presumably he's got his colleagues furiously hanging up Union Jacks as we speak.
I doubt it. It's just an office.
So, Mr. Lammy, flags. Got a lot of flags up in your office. That's very good to see. They're in very good condition, aren't they? Like they've been bought this morning or something. Anyway, we've seen a lot of patriotic people this year putting up England flags everywhere and graffitiing red crosses on those little white roundabouts, which I must admit brings a tear to my eye every time I turn into the big Tesco's. What are your thoughts on that?
We cannot let any of our nation's flags be appropriated by hoodlums, hooligans, fascists. So I wear the flag very proudly.
Me too.
Most often when I'm supporting England.
Well.
You know,
I can see you're very comfortable talking about this.
In a football game or cricket.
I've got a big flag that I wrap myself up in on St George's Day. Have you?
I remember the pride I felt. People like Daley Thompson, Linford Christie.
I don't wear anything when I'm inside my big flag either. I make sure I'm naked so that my flesh is against the material. You know, that's just how patriotic I am.
I see my Britishness, my Englishness.
What I do is I lie on the flag naked and then roll from one end of the flag to the other.
And I certainly want my children.
My cleaner caught me the last time I did it. That wasn't funny.
To feel as confident about their flag and their country.
She said I look like a giant Greggs sausage roll in a white paper bag. It's not very nice, is it? I had to let her go after that. She was rubbish anyway. You know, no matter how many times I asked her, she never folded the ends of the toilet rolls into little triangles, you know, like they do in hotels. I asked her for that. She never did it. David Lammy, thank you very much for talking to me. So that was my interview with David Lammy, and according to him, you can only wave the England flag now if you're cheering on Daley Thompson, apparently, which would be difficult to do now, wouldn't it, because he's 67. Presumably the only time Daley Thompson needs cheering on to do anything these days is when he's opening up a jar of pickles or setting up a direct debit or something. Are we really saying in 2026 that whenever we feel a surge of patriotism in this country, we can't paint a red cross on a random white thing anymore? The Labour Party have lost the plot. When Keir Starmer stood up and said that we were in danger of becoming an island of strangers, I thought, finally, you know, this harmonica-voiced thumbhead has finally turned a corner. You know, now I can get behind him. And what does he go and do? He immediately apologises for hurting anyone's feelings and sends David Lammy out to say, sorry, you can't fly the flag to show pride in your country anymore, but you can slap it against a window the next time Harry Kane scores a hat-trick against a tiny country that has fewer people in it than my local B&M. It's woke gone woke-ageddon out there, people. Be safe.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hi, Sally. It's Mike. I just wanted to say... it's sorry, I forgot about your birthday. Apologies. Presumably you're out having going out having a party or whatever. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry I forgot. Thanks for all your work today. And if sorry, just have a good time. If you're out, have a good time. Thanks. All right, bye.
Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a great video. I'm going to send that to Daily Blase for his Friday Frolics as well. That was definitely a lot of. I knew that was. I know it was a long one, but I thought it was well worth sharing with you guys before we headed out here tonight, guys. But before I do, I've got to. I did see all these drop in, and I wanted to respond, but I didn't want to affect the funny video. I wanted to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that there as well. So first of all, I got a £2 super chat from Aliston Keir saying, to hit. Who are we to hitting? I don't know. To hit something. And then another £2 super chat to say, that goal. The goal. But what goal there? And then Steve McMullen, good morning to you over in New Zealand. Happy Tuesday morning, my friend. Thank you, first of all, so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. How are you? Hope you had a lovely weekend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for that very generous 20 New Zealand dollars. I hope you are doing, honestly, hope you are doing well. Hope your family are doing well. And hope you have a great week going ahead. I generally mean that. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that, Steve. And Aliston Keir followed up with another £2 super chat to saying, all hail the DRP. All hail the Democratic Penguins Republic. Do you know what? I need to get like a penguin kind of style flag to replace maybe this one. Maybe I should do that. I know how much the Scots despise the flag behind me. But the idea of the flag is to represent that I'm covering UK news. Yeah, which I'm not really doing a very good job of, if I'm honest. Yeah, thank you guys for those super chats. Oh, another one at the end there from Aliston Keir. And for Ollie too. Oh, for Ollie as well. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Alistair. Yes, Ollie appreciates that as well. I don't know why he's getting green there, but yeah, Ollie says thank you as well. There we go. If I just move him a bit further. There we go. You can see the smiley face there. I'll put him on smiles there for you there as well. Yeah, they're very generous today. And good evening, Dave McGuinness. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Great shows today. I was there for the show, for the afternoon show. I was just doing work in the background while listening to you guys. So thank you for the work that you do, my friend, and looking forward to having you on Thursday. And before we head out, I actually got I was trying to get some new guests on for Thursday, and it's not really worked out, unfortunately. So, but I have got someone that we are all very loved and familiar with. Daily Blase will be on Thursday alongside myself and Dave McGuinness. So what could possibly go wrong? We always love Daily Blase. So I should just make him a permanent fixture on the show, to be fair, because he's absolutely such a top man. And he's always willing to come in on short notice. So Daily Blase will be joining us as well there, which I really, really appreciate. There's someone else I did email. I'm just waiting for a response from him, and hopefully he can join us as well. Just finally as well, I have confirmed Jenny is still on board for the last roundtable of the year. Jenny Random Scottish History will be joining us on the one in December. I'm just trying to get confirmation from one or two other people for that show. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So yes, do join us for this Thursday's roundtable. There'll be plenty to discuss on the program. So if you guys can join us for that show, please do. This Thursday at 8 o'clock, guys. As for me, I will be back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Do join Dave McGuinness' paper review at 10:30 before you come and hop on to mine if you're up before then. But thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you for Alistair Keir and Steve for those very generous super chats. I really appreciate your support, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week ahead, whatever you guys have got planned. But just before you go, if you can for me, please hit that like button, share this across social media, consider subscribing to the channel. Help me get to 2,500 subscribers, guys. I really want to get to that number before the end of the year. We're less than 50 subscribers away from reaching that 2,500 subscriber count at the end of this year. I want to hit it before the end of the year. If we can hit it before the end of this month, that would be brilliant, but I don't know if we can make that happen. So if you know somebody that has not subscribed and consider subscribing, get them to come and subscribe to the channel. Help me get over that mark. That'd be a very nice Christmas present to have before then, guys. So if you can help me get to 2,500 subscribers, it'd be a great achievement. You know, being picky, I would have liked to have gotten 3,000, but we're just not getting those numbers there. But realistically, 2,500 between now and Christmas, I think we can make that happen, guys. So help me get over that number. And do check out Rumble and Patreon. Like I said, content for both of them have dropped. We'll be dropping every day, Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock as well. So do check that out there as well. And you can also find me on other social medias as well as on the Discord as well. I would come on and do an after chat tonight, but I've got additional work to do. And I'm doing not one, but two, but three live streams tomorrow. I'm doing 2 politics ones, and I'm doing a 2-hour wrestling one tomorrow, guys. So I'm going to be very busy tomorrow. So, yeah, so I'm going to be busy there, guys. But thank you all so much for coming, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.